Welcome, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Marian, and I'm an international marketing specialist at the University of Tartu. I am very happy to welcome you to the Alumni Talks 2023 event, and I will be your host today. So Alumni Talks is our new series where our fantastic alumni share their story of studying at the University of Tartu, and they will give a short lecture on a topic they chose. So today I am here with Mairis, who graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Tartu in 2017. And he's currently working at an international team in Foxway Group as the head of sourcing for Eastern Europe, with the mission of creating sustainable IT for everyone. So in his free time, Mairis enjoys sports, travel, and some books about us humans. And today he will talk about how to stay focused and challenged in his experience. So also just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the webinar, please leave them to the Q&A box and we will address them at the end of the webinar. If you have any technical difficulties, then please contact us and we will try to help you resolve them. And also we are recording today's talk and all participants will receive a recording after the webinar. But now, without further ado, I would like to give a floor to our presenter today, Mairis. So if you are ready, you can start.
Fantastic. Thank you for a very, very nice introduction, Marian. So let me try to share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Brilliant. That's already a good start. So yeah, as Marian mentioned, then I've chosen an interesting topic, which says sort of stay focused and challenged, and I added try to do it at all times. But by no means this presentation is not going to be very theoretical or anything like that about these two things, because I do not consider myself expert nor a everyday and good practitioner of these two things. So I'm struggling myself in life, but with these things. But I know for a fact that these are very important aspects of life. So in order to achieve something in life, and yeah, many times I have seen in my life myself that whenever you stay focused and try to put yourself out of the comfort zone, sooner or later it brings some results. Yeah, let's without further ado, let's dive into the presentation as well. So as Marian mentioned, my name is Mairis and I graduated the business administration program in 2017. It's actually not so long ago, but at the same time the time flies, and it's yeah, it's been a while, and it's always nice to revisit the Tartu and see how the things are going there, etc. And yeah, myself, I'm from Latvia, so it's very close to Estonia, and it's been actually one of the good reasons why I chose to go to Tartu. Yeah, besides many other things about myself, I think you all want to hear or see what are we going to talk about, or what my monologue will be about for the coming minutes. So long story short, I will try to briefly reflect on my memories, good memories of the study time in University of Tartu through these 3 years. And yeah, I understand that most of you might be considering coming to Tartu and study here. So I really hope that some of the points I'm going to mention might be helpful for you when making a right decision for your future. And then of course a bit about also my professional life. So what I've seen, what I've done so far, and once again hoping that something can be useful for not all of you, but at least for some of you. And then as Marian mentioned, then if there are any questions, I think it makes sense if we leave it till the end, and then I'm not going to promise I can answer all of them, but I will do my best. So a little bit about Tartu and what I do remember. I think perhaps one of the questions what's on most of your mind is why should I go and study in Tartu? This was also, of course, important question for myself, but funny enough for me, Tartu was a place where to go and study. I came up pretty much in the very last moment. I know that the admission usually starts in early spring, and this is the time when I first heard about the Tartu University, and we had a nice presentation or lecture in our school, in high school, telling about all the good things of Tartu, and me and my friend, we realized that, hey, let's give it a try. Let's send the application and let's see where it lands. And yeah, funny enough, we ended up studying in Tartu. But obviously, yeah, when we were making a decision where to go, we had several other options where to study. Me, myself, I had a few options also in my home country. But yeah, why Tartu? Those of you who might not know, it's obviously the #1 university in the Baltics by, I believe, many rankings, and also by the history of the university itself. So this was obviously one of the important aspects for me choosing the place where I'm gonna spend next 3-4 years of my life back in the time. And I really wanted to also make sure that, let's say, the diploma which I'm hopefully gonna get at the end of the studies will not be, let's say, a trash, but rather something that is recognized in the market. Yeah, other thing was obviously, as just mentioned, I wanted to make sure that I spend my time as effectively as possible, and therefore I wanted to make sure that I also spend maybe as little time as possible on the studying side, because in the region here we have many universities offering similar programs, but oftentimes the program itself takes 4 years as well. And yeah, my main criteria was to find a place where I can do the bachelor study in the business as quickly as possible. And obviously the studies in English environment, this was also one of the criteria I was looking for, and Tartu definitely fulfills this part as well. Yeah, these were basically the three main things I was looking for. And then maybe back in the time I didn't realize this, but Tartu, especially the business administration program, it offers very international class. What I mean here, you basically, I don't know how it's today, but those 6-7 years ago, we still had a very international class of people from obviously the Baltics, but also from Scandinavia, from the rest of the Europe, from some more exotic places like China, and also it was quite a lot of friends we had in the class from Russia, from Belarus, from Ukraine, Georgia, so on and so forth. So it was a nice company. And also another thing is to know about this program. You don't have 100 or 200 people in a class. It's a very nice, I think around 30 people, at least back in the time. So you get actually the attention from the teachers, from the lecturers, and you can interact more, I would say, personally. So it's not just a huge group against the teacher and that's it. So this was a nice touch. Estonia as such, maybe some of you don't know, but it's very much a tech-oriented country. Obviously, I didn't have much plans. What should I do about this? But I knew that I want to at least maybe learn and see how the things are done maybe differently compared to my home country. So this was another thing. And also Tartu is very much business-oriented city, despite its size, which is I think around 100,000 people, if I recall correctly. You will find a lot of many international companies here. So with this being said, unless you create your own company, if you want, I think you will be very safe to say that you're going to find easily some place to work, either in some local company or maybe some international one. And I know for sure that companies are looking to expand international. And if you're from some interesting market with a lot of potential to grow the business, there's a good chance somebody might recruit you, which was also my case. And yeah, and then you see where the life takes you. Another thing was for me going abroad. Many of my friends just stayed in the country, and in Latvia, for instance, we usually go to Riga and study in the biggest universities there. I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do the same as all of my friends, so I decided, hey, maybe I should do something else. And this also came into factor, choosing Tartu and going abroad and putting myself actually really into the sort of a challenge zone or out of comfort zone, because at this age you usually haven't been living outside of your home country. So this was a really interesting challenge for me, and I'm super happy I took it. And yeah, another good thing for me was it's only 3-hour drive from my hometown. Probably most of you cannot relate to this, but for me it was also a good thing that if something happens and if I want to get back home, then there is a good option to just take a quick 3-hour drive and be back home. But yeah, I don't know. These are some things I remember, and I really hope some of you might resonate with these and might find useful when you are making a decision, either choosing Tartu or maybe some other university. But about the studies, about what I remember, to be honest, after all these years, there's not much, but I did try to put at least some bullet points for you together. All in all, first thing that came to my mind is that, yeah, despite maybe some of the Estonians being like a little bit not so extrovert, or they might seem to be quiet at the first impression, but I can assure they are very warm people, very open and supportive. And whenever you need something, either teachers or your classmates or just maybe a random student on the street, probably not everyone, but most of them will be ready to assist. And yeah, it's one of the things I do appreciate and I really loved about Tartu. When it comes to the studies itself, obviously as a proper student, there comes always a time when you need to put or set the survival mode on. With this being said, that at least me personally, I had relatively high standards, maybe not always aiming for Ace, but at least B or yeah, B is like a minimum you want to get in the exam. So whenever there was a exam coming up, at least in my situation, I had to sort of turn on the survival mode and spend maybe last night or last 2-3 nights studying the subject and making sure that yeah, I deliver what I've been looking for. But at the same time, it's not like you need to be on the survival mode for all 3 years, which is a good thing, because then you can yeah, have some time to do some other activities and yeah, maybe find something else for yourself. At the same time, during the studies, one thing you always also need to do is the internship if you want to get the diploma at the end of the program. So what it means in this situation, you basically need to find either you do it in your own company, or maybe you have good connections or good friends, or just look for some other companies who are maybe looking for some intern. It can be 1, 2, 3 months, and usually you do it during the summer and find something related to the studies, either yeah, find someone who is looking for assistant in a marketing, maybe in some finance field, etc., etc. It's very simple task, but at the same time very useful, because then you get hands-on on how the sort of a business life looks in the real life. Erasmus, which is the exchange program. So this is also something I remember, and which I'm happy I also took part in, and I strongly suggest anyone who is studying in pretty much any university to take the advantage of this, because yeah, it's good to see the world. It's good to see different cultures, etc., etc., and go around and spend some quality time, a little bit of traveling, and at the same time getting a good education. So yeah, these are the few things I remember as the main highlights from the studies. I'm not going into very deep details about each of them, but as I just previously mentioned about the survival mode, but at the same time having enough time to also focus on the out of school activities. Then in my case, I had a few of them. I know some people had more, some people less, but it's good to have something out of the school to take your mind off and focus on some other things as well. So in my case, it was my own company, which was still back from the high school time. So it obviously took some of my time, and also some of the nerves, and was quite a challenge to, let's say, manage both studies and the company, but it was definitely worth it. I also took part in the International Student Ambassadors program. Project, I don't know how you call it, but it's essentially a group of students studying in the university representing different countries, different nations, and supporting future soon to become students of the University of Tartu. So we had different gatherings together as a group here in the ambassadors, and organizing different events for the international students, etc., just to get them more integrated in the whole study process, etc. Another thing was, landing a first job in Estonia. So as I mentioned earlier, it's very likely, obviously it depends from person to person, but it's very likely if you really want, you will find a place where to work. In my case, it was a part-time job besides my studies. So I started in the second year, if I'm not mistaken. So it was just perfect, for a student studying, always good to have some extra money. So I was super excited for this opportunity. At the same time, I also, strangely enough, but I had a chance to take part in different exhibitions and trade fairs, both with my own company and also representing Tartu University. So we had some opportunities to go out to also my home country to represent Tartu and to tell more about the university and the life here and so on. So, and last but not least, as previously mentioned, I do like to do some sports, and in my case, it's basketball. And on the second year of my studies, I also managed to join a local team in Tartu, which was very supportive and very nice guys. And I still keep a good contact with them. And it was also important to keep yourself, at least in my case, physically active and do something outside of all these interesting things happening around the school and the work and so on. So this is a quick wrap about what I remember from 3 years in university times. When we talk about the faculty itself, it's and the program and where we spent most of these 3 years. So I hope you can see the picture. It's not the best quality maybe, but this is the faculty which I had back in the days, and probably most of you know they have now a very nice spaceship, right? So it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm super jealous of all the people now studying in the new faculty, and it might be that this is yet another perhaps good reason to choose University of Tartu, just because of the basically state-of-art facilities and everything you can see here is just amazing. I've been there once and it looks amazing. And also, actually, my sister is now studying there, and she's quite hyped about everything they have there. Besides my jealousy on the new faculty building, what I also remember from the program itself, so what you study here, I'm not going to go into details here, but it was pretty much a bit of everything when it comes to the business life and theory of the business life. So some of the courses you can find obviously the curricula and everything from the homepage of Tartu University, but the things I remember was quite a lot of marketing studies. So if you're maybe into this might be super interesting for you. Pretty much every year we had a marketing class or maybe two, which made us sort of a almost deep dive into the marketing. Also, what I remember was a very good class was human resource, a little bit about also entrepreneurship. So the theoretical side, even though I had my own company, it was also good to see how the things should be done in theory. Obviously, we had all the mathematics, stats, microeconomics, banking. What was also a nice class was ethics class, which also it wasn't like very complicated, but it gave you sort of or made you think about different perspectives of how the business should be done and what you shouldn't do, and how the big corporations are maybe sometimes abusing some parties and etc. So it was a very interesting class actually, and also general management, different courses, and accounting, obviously different classes related to finance, etc. So you can see here it's a bit of everything, and I think the main idea here is so you after the bachelor you understand where you want to deep dive, and then you go to the masters, and then you take a specific field which you want to study more. Furthermore, besides all of this amazing thing what you have in the University of Tartu is if I say something wrong, Marian, please correct me, but you get access to all the other faculties or schools. In my case, I took the advantage of the language school. So this means that if you have time for it, you can go and take classes of different courses from other faculties. In my case, it was a business English. So this means we studied a little bit more how to communicate properly in English, all the business terms and everything. And I think this should be actually a mandatory course for everyone, because also these days when I do conduct some business with someone, and yeah, you can easily see who is not, let's say, so familiar with the English business language. So this was a very nice class. And also I did take Estonian for 1 year, without any ambitions to become fluent in Estonian, but rather to sort of be a little bit more integrated in Estonian, or in Estonia in general. When you come to store, yeah, they might ask you some questions which they don't speak in English, and yeah, you can just at least understand what they are asking in Estonian. But it was also a very nice class, and yeah, Estonian is a hard language, this I can admit for sure, but it's a beautiful one. And if you have the courage, you can probably easily learn fluently Estonian through the 2 or 3 years of studying here. Yeah, so this is about my study time. Just briefly about the ambassadors as well. It's a nice thing to, I think, take part. You can see me here being in one of the exhibitions, sort of representing Tartu and also organizing different events. So as you know by now, I'm into basketball, so I was organizing some basketball events, so on and so forth. So this also sort of puts you out of the comfort zone, because you are organizing different activities out of the school, and you need to find time for them. So another out of school action for me was, as I mentioned, getting a part-time job in Estonia. So this was very nice. I'm still actually in the same industry, but different company. But yeah, it was. I still consider myself lucky and blessed that I managed to get this job and to know the people, which I basically know still by this day, most of them. And out of school action, still the same basketball, and keeping myself in shape. And yeah, this is the nice team that took me on the board and allowed me to be in a team. So this was super nice. And then yeah, back in my country with my own company, we had also some good success, and we were recognized. So it was interesting times, and definitely good memories here. And yeah, believe me or not, but we did also manage to graduate the program as well. So this is a nice group of all the course mates or classmates we had back in 2017, and I'm not sure what all of them are doing, but I'm definitely sure they are doing well and making this world a better place. So yeah, it was a fun journey for sure, and luckily, at least for me, only the best memories. And yeah, with all the challenges and focuses which I previously mentioned, one thing for sure I've learned, that if you do put the work in, you just got to be patient. And I can, and probably many more people in the world can assure that results will come. You don't know when they will come, but yeah, be patient and do go the extra mile whenever it's possible. So this has been something I learned also through the study time. There was a lot of many challenges, a lot of interesting times for me where I had to really put me into uncomfortable situation and just trust the process and do whatever I can to reach the result. So this was a long story short about what I remember from the study time. I do hope that some of this might be useful for any of you. Then, as I promised, we will a little bit look into it, my professional life. Yeah, I'm not sure it will be very interesting for you guys, but let's see. And by no means I don't consider myself I don't know, successful yeah, person in the career or anything like that. It's been a fun journey for me, interesting journey to see where I was and where I am today. But yeah, I'm just still in the very early stages of my career. So yeah, but I'm definitely, there are definitely some things I'm more than keen to share with you, and I hope also this might be useful. As I mentioned previously, then I had my own business. The company name was Dream Sleep, so you can already maybe guess what the company was about. Internship, as I mentioned, I think this also sort of played at least partially an important role in my professional career. So I took it at the Air Baltic, which is the airline company in the Baltics. And then, as I mentioned, job. So the first job was sort of account manager in Latvia for local clients for the company Redeem. And then through the years, I think I spent there 3 or 4 years, and then I moved to another company, which is the Foxway, which is also previously it was called Replace, but we changed the name, and today is Foxway. And yeah, I'm not gonna make it into geography lesson, but these are all the flags of all the markets I sort of try to take care of as a head of sourcing, and I have a good team here to support me. But yeah, it's a bit of crazy. It's a bit crazy at times, but at the same time, if you don't challenge yourself, there is yeah, no space for growth. So this is what I do. So if I look into more of how it all has maybe helped or shaped me through all these different journeys or challenges that I have faced through the past years, then having a company, Dream Sleep, which I don't know if any of you could guess, but it was very much related to the sleep. So we were producing the travel pillows, and yeah, this sort of super strange yet interesting and exciting challenge basically taught me a lot of things. Yeah, most of which were basically yeah, just reminding yourself that pretty much like everything in life, it's all up to you. In our case, in the company, we were just a few people and managing everything, and yeah, it was crazy. And this also showed us that hey, life is also a very good school. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's very important to and good to go to university and learn about how to do things also from theoretical perspective, get to know people and get to know or widen your scope of the understanding. But yeah, life is a very good lesson or a teacher, yeah, especially when it comes to the business, because then you understand how things are working in the real life, etc. And we were basically, yeah, handling the production of these pillows and the marketing side and the finance, the logistics, the legal side. Yeah, even the legal side without like any background on the legal part and the sales, of course, as well, etc., etc. So yeah, it's nothing new, but it's always fun to be sort of in charge of everything and then just try to survive through the life with your own company. And yeah, at the end of the day, when you sort of achieve something or at least get some results, then you sort of realize that, hey, if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And at the same time, pretty much anything is possible. And yeah, of course, there were many more things to remember, but one important thing to keep in mind is also, no matter the case, it's always good to keep personal connections with people for life, because let's be honest, we never know when we might need them, when they might need us, and it's always good to keep good contacts for life. And yeah, all these pictures that you see here, it's yeah, this one is from the London. So during my study time in Tartu, we went to one of the biggest exhibitions in London for the startups, and it was it was a lot of fun. So you can imagine it's a startup trade fair with different tech companies, fintech, so on and so forth. And then there are some guys trying to push the idea of the travel pillows, right? But funny enough, we get quite a lot of attention there, and yeah, it was a nice challenge to go to London and try to push our idea to the market and show that how we can do different things together with different companies, even if you're trying to sell pillows. And yeah, all in all, it was a fun journey, but like many things in life, unfortunately or not unfortunately, it obviously depends from case to case, but there always comes the end. And in my case, yeah, this was the end, and there came a new beginning. And in my case, it was this previously mentioned job in Estonia, specifically in Tartu. So we call it the e-commerce industry. So long story short, it's about extending the lifetime of the electronic devices, giving them a second chance, and trying to reuse them as much as possible. So with one good example, we can probably all think of how many electronics, especially specifically the mobile devices, we all have at home. And so what do we do with them, right? probably, at least in my experience, most of us, we keep it somewhere in the drawer for a dark day. If my iPhone dies, then I have a backup phone, but usually this never happens. So our idea is to sort of change the mindset here and try to reuse these electronics, or not only the devices themselves, but rather also the components and all the valuable material that are in these devices, because yeah, we've been digging earth, the mother earth for many years, and at the same time we have so much material already available, but we are not recycling it properly. So there is a lot of things to do here. So as I mentioned, yeah, we do try to change the mindset of the people, and yeah, give the second life, or it can be third life, fourth life for your old smartphone or any other electronic device. Therefore, also helping you and different companies becoming a more stronger part of the circular economy and be more sustainable, and yeah, help to reduce the electronic waste globally. And as Marion mentioned earlier, so at Foxway we do aim to enable access to sustainable green tech for anyone. So at Foxway, what we do, we just try to change this mindset and change the market. And we firmly believe that this is the future, that instead of just directly going to the store and to buy the new iPhone or a new Galaxy device, you will maybe think twice. Maybe I should go to the store next to it and buy maybe 1-year-old device, etc., because therefore you give it a second life and extend the lifetime. But yeah, this is what we do within the company, and what I'm doing today. It's yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, as previously shown with all those nice flags. So I'm managing the Eastern Europe team for the sourcing side. So what it means, we are looking for different partners, companies locally in different markets who would be interested to work with Foxway, either to sell their maybe end-of-life assets, run different buyback programs, so on and so forth. So it's super interesting to be in touch with different people across the Eastern Europe part, and to interact with them, to learn more about their cultures and the way of doing the business. Because let's be honest, how we do it here in the Baltics, it's very much different from how they do business in I don't know, Albania or Moldova or Romania, etc. So it's very interesting. It's very challenging, and yeah, I've been definitely blessed to be here in this position and to have the opportunity to sort of develop the business in these more than 15 markets today. And another thing I'm super happy about is that most of the work is in English. And this also wouldn't be possible if I probably didn't go to Tartu University and studied or was in the environment where I had to speak English. And yeah, today I speak pretty much most of the time in English, and some fraction with the clients in Latvia, and then maybe some basic phrases which I remember still in Estonian. And yeah, when we're meeting customers, which is always nice to speak some words locally, or at least say hello or cheers or something like this. And yeah, being here, being part of this extremely nice journey has helped me to also gain friends and simply said amazing colleagues pretty much across the whole Europe. And yeah, but if you come to Tartu University and study here, you will most likely experience similar things, because on the streets of Tartu you see pretty much people from all over the world. It can be someone from USA, from China, from India, so on and so forth. So it's you don't really feel, especially during those 9 months of study time, yeah, you really feel like you are in Estonia. It's rather some international hub with people across the globe. And yeah, to wrap this, it's basically coming back to already multiple times mentioned never-ending challenges. Yeah, you can imagine probably it's not always nice and fun just looking at all the friends I have across Europe, but it's yeah, managing all the things and reaching the targets and making sure the business is growing, and at the end of the day, yeah, not letting down yourself and people around you, and also managing everything else in between and around you, because yeah, work is not everything in life. There is also some personal life, so it's challenge after challenge after challenge. So but it's all about, yeah, it's all about commitment, I think, and focusing on the right thing at the right time. And what I thought might be interesting for you also, I don't know how relevant it will be, but just briefly, what I sort of, when I look back, what has helped me from the study times in university, when you look at each of these things I'm doing today, then managing a team or sort of growing a market, pushing the market forward, etc. Yeah, when I look back, I remember we had tons of projects in school. In these projects, you are mostly with someone, either it's 2 people or maybe sometimes 3, 4, maybe even more. And definitely this puts you in the position where you need to be a team player. I myself, ignoring the fact that I've been playing basketball, which is considered a team sport, I'm very much individual, sort of oriented, and there is, yeah, it's not easy to earn the trust, and this has been something to challenge myself as well, to, let's say, trust the team and be sure that they can easily manage without you, and yeah, through the projects throughout the school, this also sort of helped me to rely on others as well, and not do just everything by yourself. Of course, management courses, just to understand how to maybe manage some things. Human resource course, I think this was a very nice one, just to understand how you, yeah, I mean, back in the days, you might not think about I will be HR manager or I will be running a team of 100 people, but somewhere deep inside you to keep the knowledge, and you do understand maybe a little bit better how to interact with the people and how to, yeah, do things better for a team, and at the end of the day, better for everyone. And also the ethics class, which also sort of helps to, yeah, do things and put things in the right way whenever it's needed. So that certainly has helped me. There are definitely much more courses which you could mention, which probably has helped me, but these were just from top of my mind. And yeah, when it comes to the like general business and pushing forward and expanding the business, on top of previously mentioned things, obviously also the marketing, to understand how we can position ourselves better in each of these markets, because they are very, very different, and you always need to consider like how they will perceive you, what will be the most likely the first feedback on whatever you're offering to the market, etc., etc. And also the economic side, to understand what are the possibilities to financially grow there, what are the yeah, what should we expect from this market. So this is also important to understand definitely the basics of how the economics run, and yeah, legal side, as I mentioned. We also had a small legal course. I think it was just a pass-fail course back in the times, but it was very nice, very good, and very useful, because also today we have to read through different contracts, agreements, terms and conditions, and here you sort of get a little bit more understand how you read yeah, between the lines, and understand the meaning between every single clause of the legal contracts. And yeah, it was definitely useful. And I don't remember if we had an option to take more courses on the legal side, but I definitely didn't do it, but I wish I did. So yeah, if you do come study here, maybe this is something might be useful for you. And yeah, I generally work in English, so it's pretty much everyday life. In Tartu, you need to speak in English with friends, with everyone. And as I mentioned previously, this business language course from the language school was super good, and I'm super happy I took it, which I'm basically, the knowledge I gained there, I'm still using today. So yeah, and when it comes to the friends across the Europe, like I said, Tartu is such an international city, and the university itself as well. So you will definitely get used to it, having friends from across the Europe, and later on in the future, when if you have your own huge international, I don't know, company, whatever you succeed with, or maybe you join some other companies where there are international people, then after studies in Tartu, it's sort of a common sense for you probably that, yeah, it's very easy to interact with people from across the globe. And never-ending challenges. Yeah, I think I somewhere consciously maybe learned that yeah, there are definitely ways how to manage many things at the same time. In my case, it was school, my own business, and having a part-time job in Estonia, and doing some other out-of-school activities. And by no means, I'm not like somebody who did more things than others. There were even crazier people than me for sure. But yeah, the more you do, I think the more you can achieve and the more things you get done. So this is something that, yeah, that I remember and I do try to keep in mind every day. Yeah, that's a long story short and similar to the school. What are my takeaways from here? And like I said previously, by no means I don't consider me as anyone super successful, but some things just to keep in mind, and I think they are worthy to remember or at least to mention. As I told previously, then yeah, don't be scared of a challenge. Worst thing that can happen, unless it's I don't know, million or billion dollar deal, or maybe you can hurt someone else very badly, then probably nothing else can happen bad. And if you fail, most likely you will learn, and next time you are much more mature and knowledgeable about the yeah, the subject, and you will do most likely 2, 3, or even 5 times better. Be a team player. This already mentioned. It's definitely not an easy task, but if you can be a team player, because let's be honest, all the big great companies, we know like the main heads who founded it, so on and so forth, but they never did it alone. There were always a team behind them, and it's always good to be in this team and yeah, to make the things happen. Always look in the big picture. I know we most of the time, oftentimes, try to look for the short-term picture, meaning that what was happening today, what's going to happen this week, but it's always good to look into what might happen with you after 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And this is also in relation to if you want to come to study in university in Tartu, then yeah, look in the big picture, because I think I didn't do it. And I just was looking for a good school to study and get a good diploma and good education. But yeah, I think I never thought I would be working for an Estonian company still after many years. And yeah, think about it. Think how you want to maybe relate yourself to Estonia, if in any way, or yeah, there might be some other things to consider. And this is also in a way related to setting a goal, because if you have a goal, then it makes life easier. And I'm not super good at setting goals, but I have realized that yeah, if you have a list of good goals and if you work on them, it's much more likely you will achieve them rather than just surfing through the life, right? And yeah, be confident about what you do. This is also not an easy one, but I've learned that even if you are not an expert in the field, yeah, try to be confident, grow your confidence by doing the things. Try to surround yourself with the right people, because yeah, even if you're not an expert, it's very good to have the right people around who are supporting you and from whom you can learn, and to whom you can maybe teach something, so there is some synergies in between. So yeah, confidence, it's definitely not an easy thing in life, but try to learn it, and I can assure that this might bring some good things for you, but at the same time, don't be overconfident, because this might end up in the on the other side, which might not be so good. And yeah, as I mentioned previously, try to keep good relationships with people for life if possible, because I mean, you never know. And yeah, do not forget about your personal health, and this is not only the physical health but also the mental health. Besides all the challenges and all the focuses, yeah, it's always good to take some time off, and yeah, to maybe also reflect on the things, and yeah, remember about yourself and also people around you. But yeah, these are some of the takeaways from what I have sort of figured out in my life so far in the professional life. And yeah, there is a still long journey to go, hopefully, and we'll see what the future will bring me. And yeah, with this being said, it's yeah, it's been a long monologue from my side, so I have sort of walked you a little bit through my journey of the 3 years in University of Tartu, and also the rest of the years in my professional life. and what I have seen and what I have done so far. So yeah, I think it's more or less time for the questions and answer session. So I just want to wrap it up with the quote, which I honestly don't know where it's coming from, but one good to remember is that if you feel like you've been feeling too good or being for too long in a comfort zone, it's very likely you might be doing something wrong, because the truth is, at least in my opinion, that through the challenges, this is where we grow as personalities, and also as a teams, and families, and so on and so forth. So yeah, do great things, and I wish you all the best, and I really hope that yeah, something was useful from this presentation, and yeah, thank you guys for listening to my monologue.
Thank you so much, Mairis, for this exciting talk. And as you said, now it is time for some questions from our audience. And just a reminder, please type your questions to the Q&A box. And I will start with the first question. So, have you considered doing a master's?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did consider at some point right after the studies, but I wasn't really sure in which field I wanna deep dive. And at that time, I had my own company and this other job in Estonia. So I realized that let's see where this brings me, because there's always, luckily, we are living in a world where we can always go back to the school, take either something else on the bachelor side, or go to the master's. But at this moment, I'm sticking with my job. I'm very happy where I am, and there is a lot of things to learn as well. But I'm not saying no to the masters. You never know, maybe in the future.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, do you still live in Estonia, or do you work remotely from Latvia? And if remotely, do you have tips on how to manage a team remotely?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. I'm working remotely at the moment. I do visit Estonia quite a lot, but yeah, my work is mostly from home, so it's not easy. But COVID pandemic and everything, it taught us a lot of things that yeah, about the remote work and how to manage everything remotely, and it proved that it is possible, no matter the industry, no matter the position. Obviously, there are places where you cannot do remote work, but most of the time it is possible. And yeah, currently I'm in Latvia, so but I do have the pleasure to go and meet the colleagues, and also the customers across the Eastern Europe, which is very exciting. And I'm always looking forward to this, because otherwise I'm pretty much all alone by myself and having these Zoom calls or team calls, which is good, but not as exciting as meeting face to face. And any tips on managing team remotely? I think you need to. It's very individual probably, and depends from team to team and from person to person. I have a relatively small team. We are 4 people together only, but we have like many more colleagues to work with, and it's yeah, it really depends. Sometimes it's very easy. You just keep an eye on the team, try to help them. Yeah, ask them how they are doing. Do they need any support? Do we need to go have a meeting face to face, etc., etc. But I've been lucky enough. I have very independent guys around me in my team, so I can fully trust them, and they don't need any babysitting or anything like that. So yeah, I'm probably no expert in this to advise here, but try your best to see what's working, what's not, and there are definitely many books also, or courses online to see what's been maybe working in some industries, what's not. But good question. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering. So the next question is that how old is your phone, considering what you said about Foxway's goal that we shouldn't purchase immediately new tech, and have you changed your tech use habits?
So this is a lovely question. Let me check. What is the age of my phone? I don't know by heart. 1 second. It's a good, very good question, but long story short, if I look back at my personal life, I've been sort of somewhat interested in the secondary phones, even from the, I don't know, like primary school, from the 5th grade. I was always like checking who has the nicest phone in the school, and then I went and asked, so do you want to sell it to me? So this is one thing, but the other thing, yeah, I think for the past 10 years or so, I haven't had a brand new phone. So I don't remember what's the feeling of, let's say, unboxing the brand new device. So today I have the Galaxy Note 20, which is the launch date might be, it's not so old, it's almost 3 years old, but it's working fine. Perfectly, and yeah, this is another thing about the smartphones these days. I mean, the difference between year-by-year smartphone, it's so minor that unless you are like some tech geek, most likely you will not notice it. So having a 1-year-old phone, or in my case almost 3 years old phone, it's like it's working fine, the battery is great, the camera is probably as good as the latest phones. So yeah, nothing to bother about. And also the computer which I'm using now is like a 6 or 7 years old MacBook, which is just running top notch without any issues. And yeah, it's obviously it's not always the case that you'll find a good secondary or refurbished device, but my experience has shown that yeah, there are no issues with secondary phones or secondary gadgets. And yeah, just give it a try and see how it goes for you.
Thank you so much. So let's take the next question. You mentioned that your sister is now studying at the University of Tartu. Did you encourage her to enroll?
I don't know if I encouraged, but I sort of asked her why not. So she wasn't also very sure, should I do it, should I not? But I think at the last night she made the application to the admission, and she got in, and she even got a scholarship. So the studies for her is for free. So it's an amazing situation, and you got to ask herself if she's happy or not with my encouragement or a push to go here and study. But I think it all ended up pretty well for now.
I'm very glad to hear that. So let's take the last question, I think. Have you had any reunions with your course mates after graduating?
No, at least not yet. Nobody has been brave enough to organize anything like that yet. But in the first few years, I did stay in touch with some of the classmates. So yeah, because I mean, through the 3 years, you do make some good connections and personal connections. So you sort of want to keep in touch and see how they are doing in life. But now it's been 6 or something years, so we have our own life probably. But I'm hopeful maybe someday there will be some good and crazy reunion together. We'll see.
So I assume you're looking forward to a reunion if it's
Definitely.
someday.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you so much. I believe we have covered all the questions from our audience. I would like to thank our presenter Mairis for sharing his experience and for a great talk on an interesting topic. I wish you well, and especially continuing to build your own company. And yes, thanks to our audience for being with us today. And also a few things before we wrap up. If you are a future student and planning to apply to a business administration program this year, the application period has already started and the deadline is on 15 April. And there is also going to be a virtual meeting with the program director where you can ask any questions you have regarding the program. And also we will send you the information along with the recording of today's talk. So that's it. Thank you again to everybody for joining us today, especially thank you to Mairis. And I wish you a nice evening.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here, and good luck to everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.